There. So I'm recording that. So the first muscle we're going to add here on the neck, it connects the like I said, this is the hyoid, and it connects from this projection here, this little fang looking thing, and it makes the bottom of your jaw. And that muscle, I don't know if it's even, some anatomy books have it for artists, you know, because I mean they're books for artists, not for doctors, right? It might not be on that list that I gave you. That's a very, some of these names are good, you know, they're gonna get very, very funny. So this is the hyoid, and it attaches to the mandible. So the name that it has is the mylohyoid. So it goes from here, it does this deal, and then it's in, but we don't see it, we can't on this drawing, but it's it has two parts, and it does this. This is the mylohyoid. I guess the MI because of the mandible, and then this is the hyoid. So the muscle will combine the names of the two bones that it attaches to. So that area right there, that is the mylohyoid. And I guess to stay with the green here, there's another green, a little bit brighter green here. But I'm gonna go over this with a little bit of my red chalk. And see, the fibers run this way. It's divided into two sections, and we might see a little bit here on this view. So that makes it look more brown, just makes it look more natural. So this is sometimes might be mistaken for a double chin. So that's the mylohyoid. And on this angle, we're just gonna see a little bit of it. I'm gonna make a line. I'm gonna use yellow. Some yellow to indicate, you know, like most muscles, they're symmetrical, right? So like just a line down the middle here. Can you see that? I'll zoom in. Let me zoom in more. David's coming on. Bring the drawing a little bit closer. I think that gives you a better view. Looks more straight. See, that is the, I don't know, some type of ligament that divides the mylohyoid. Yeah, and I'm gonna use some black here just to push. Remember, a thick line, a thick black line will make it look like it's closer to it. See? Because it's, behind the mandible. So maybe just let me outline it with my red chalk. It might just take up that space on the drawing here. And see, it has this division, right? As we get older, and you might have seen that on your grandpa or like an older uncle or something. As we get older, these start to sag in like two sections. Let's put in some of this bright green here. So just a little bit of those lines indicating the way that the muscle grows. There's a very limited space. And then we're still gonna put all the other muscles here on top. Just to overlap the mandible. Can you see this guy's right? It's filling in more. Now let me see. The next one, so that's the mylohyoid. I'm not going to attempt to write it here because I don't like my handwriting. For years I've been trying to learn calligraphy, and every once in a while I'll sit down and try and practice calligraphy, but it doesn't help my handwriting. But if you want to write down the name, it's Mylohyoid. Now, right on top of that muscle, overlapping it, there's another very thin muscle that also attaches. We'll see it better on the side view here. And this one is pick up another color just to contrast with the green. I'm going to pick this orange, and see it overlaps the mylohyoid, and also from the top it goes all the way to the mastoid process. And it's a very thin, long muscle. And it's gonna go behind the masseter. I want to make sure that I just see I attach it there because there's gonna be other muscles that overlap it. This is called the digastric. And I'm gonna fill it in. On the front view, we don't see it. We don't see this, but it has two portions. put a little bit of a just some white on it. I'm using purple just to separate it, to make sure that it, that it's overlapping it, because this goes behind the masseter. A little bit of the red chalk. And it has another portion that goes same width, and it goes to the very front, but the underside of the chin. Put some orange here. Put a white. So that's the same muscle, the digastric. It has an anterior and a posterior. I got those reversed. This is the anterior, the one that is in front, the posterior. Now, do we see a little bit here on the, I think it's hard to draw in here on the front view. Just a little portion there. Where it becomes foreshortened. Hard to get in there. Very thin muscle at this. And if I draw the other portion, it's going to cover up this here. So just, keep that in mind there. So that's the digastric. Digastric. Anterior, posterior. Now, let me also at this point just outline the trachea. Can't go wrong with using some red chalk. I think somebody emailed me asking if they can do this with colored pencils, and I'm like, yeah, you can also do it with colored pencils. The first time I like these notes, this is a copy of my notes, but this was done with colored pencils and a little bit of white watercolor. So you might want to take a picture at this stage. Picture. All right, so that before we add more muscles on top of this, there's some muscles that attach from the remember this is the hyoid bone here that attach from here to the sternum, to the top of the sternum. And then there's one that attaches also from the hyoid down to the scapula, goes down. But before we do those, I want to add some other muscles that make up the neck. And then add a lot of structure to the neck. Let me show you my notes here, the ones that I'll be copying. Let's see this here. These are called the Scalenous muscles. There's 3 groups. There's you can see from this drawing, there's an anterior, a medial, and a posterior. So keep that in mind. But see, this is the basic structure that they have. Kind of like a triangular structure. So I'll give you a little bit more information on this right now. So these are the Scalenous muscles. And this is why I drew the first and second rib. And they go as a group, they take up, they attach from the first and second rib. Let me lower this a little bit. And they attach to, you can see on this, they attach to, as a group, they attach to all of these transverse process from 1 to 7, and then to the first and second rib. Let me put some more white here. See what I did there? It's, you want to do the same thing here. From the second, that's the first rib, this is the second rib. Now on this view, it's not obstructed by the clavicle. That's why I didn't put the clavicle on this side. And on this side, it's gonna do this. Now here I've got the clavicle, so it's obstructing the view. So just so you have an idea there. And look on this other drawing, and I've got this from every perspective here. You can see there. So let me just squint this over so I can. On a 3/4 view, the Scalenous muscle does something like. So let's say that is on this side, and I want to imagine that the neck bones or the cervical vertebrae are not there. This is kind of what you would have. that kind of shape. That's what this, this side would be that side. But like I said, these are in this kind of structural drawing of it, this basic drawing of it, this contains the three groups. And we'll be able to see the three groups a little bit better on this side view here. I guess you can also see this one, you can also see from the back view. So look, I'm gonna zoom in here. And there's also, show you another drawing here. You see this? Now on this drawing, I've made them very thin so I could see all the attachments. This is the anterior. So we're gonna draw that one first. See the anterior one, it attaches from the first rib and to the third, starting from the third down to the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So let's give this a try here. And you should have a good view right there. See, we got the first rib. So you want to do this. Look, you want to make a straight line. And these are the more deeper muscles of the neck. So look from there. It's almost like you got the first rib and, somewhere like a little bit behind the halfway point. Let's say this is the halfway point of the first rib, a little bit behind that. And you're gonna attach it. This is the transverse process. This highlighted point here. And so it attaches to the third, to the fourth. And I'm using a red chalk here. To the fourth, to the fifth, and to the sixth. And I'll give it a little bit more form right now, just gonna shade it in. And I'll make these attachments a little bit more clean. Just a little bit of an orange color here. And just a little bit of yellow here to show where it attaches. So it's the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And I'm going to use just a little bit of a dark green so you can see more clearly. And also to outline it here. This is the Scalenous muscle. And she ended up going almost to the middle or halfway point of the first rib. And like on this drawing, you know, I'm making them rather thin and they should be more grouped together. But this was just so that we could see it a little bit more clearly. Now, like you can see on this view, the middle portion, it attaches to all of them. I'm gonna get some blue so you can see it more. And you can see here I've got the, you know, the one I just did, right? And right behind that one, because from this angle, it obstructs the view. We're gonna do this here. And the medial group, just keep in mind, attached to all of them, it also lands right on the first rib. Now, I'm not gonna cover it all up. So this is the medial group, because some of you might still be drawing this. And I'm gonna leave it like that for right now, and then as I add more muscles, I'll come back and fill it in. So you can see where the anterior one attaches. And the middle one, again, attaches to all of them. So I'll leave it like that for now. And I'll do the same thing for the third one, the one that is the third portion. That one attaches from the second to the sixth, but also because of the view, I'm just gonna do this here. And it goes all the way down. This one attaches to the second rib. So it's anterior, medial portion, and posterior portion of the Scalenous muscle. Now on this view, let me go, we can see it on there. On this view, I'm gonna outline it with blue here. So this becomes the very last portion here. And from this view, the medial portion is going to obstruct most of that view. And remember, this one attaches the medial portion from the second down to the sixth. Remember, that's the seventh. This is the and also from this view, I'm going to put in this one here, the one that is in the front. So it's from the sixth, fifth, fourth, and the third. No, we don't see that one, but it's. So I'm gonna fill it in with like I did over here. Just going over it with some tan color. Separate them a little bit better now. And this portion, I want to make it a little bit fuller with some hatching here. And see, this goes behind the mylohyoid here. Now, it's a very deep muscle, and you want to keep in mind that triangular structure that it has. And then on this angle, on the ones that are behind, I want to make blue. It's going to end up making them like have a blue tint. This is the medial portion. And this one I'll make a little deeper blue. The posterior portion goes all the way to the second rib. I can make it a little bit wider. So the posterior, middle, and anterior portions of the scalenous muscle. And we'll leave this like this for now, because there will be another muscle that is also going to use these attachments here. But on this view, we can see it more clearly, more defined at this point. And I think like on this side, I'm going to shade it according to its basic form. Remember, something like this. So this here, so let's say this is the front plane of that muscle and the side plane. Front, side. Front, side. It's harder to see on when you have them grouped like this, but this kind of drawings to help clarify. So put some white here. So you know that this is the side plane here. And I don't want to forget that it comes, can you see it? Yeah, it also comes down here. And just a little bit of blue. So that's the basic shape this makes. I tried to, you see, like I kind of left here, this area a little bit wider, a little bit lighter to emphasize this kind of feel to it. Something like that. All right, so that's a Scalenous. What else can we do here? Okay, now we can finish up the muscles that are on the trachea. We'll come back to these because we can see part of them from the back view. Now, going back to the hyoid, from the hyoid, closer to this, we've got the middle. Going all the way down here. And over, this goes over the thyroid cartilage. And because this one attaches to the hyoid and the sternum, this one's called the Sternohyoid. It goes behind the sternum, but we attach it to the backside of the sternum. And it has two sides. Let me get a darker red here to outline it. Brighter red. So that's the Sternohyoid, and then there's another portion here. And like I said, there's a muscle that attaches from this structure, the cryoid, to the sternum, and then another one that attaches from there to the thyroid cartilage. But we're not going to do those because they're way too deep and we don't really see them. But there's a lot more information here. Just a little bit of white to bring out more. Makes it also more opaque. And we'll be able to see it here on the side view. I don't want to lose the tip of the atom sample here. And you'll see from this angle, you see that that tip is not covered up.
Sir, are you gonna be uploading like the pictures today, like the ones you're taking for right now, like the session?
Yeah, I will upload them.
Okay.
I just earlier today or before class, I uploaded the ones from Tuesday. But yeah, I'll put these ones as well. So this is the Sternohyoid. And then right behind this one, you have another one, another muscle, but it goes in this direction. And this one overlaps the Scalenous. It goes and attaches to the scapula. And I'll show you what it does here on the front view, which is the putting some blue here. Because like at this point it changes direction, becomes more light facing. So it goes over the Scalenous, it's going down and then it kind of switches up. So I put purple and then white and then some blue here. Let me show you what happens on this view. With this also has a funny name, the omohyoid. So right next to it, right next to the Sternohyoid muscle, and this is going to cover up the thyroid cartilage here. So I'm outlining it. And then it changes direction. And it goes way under to the scapula. I'm going to fill it in with some violet. And see this turn that it does here, part of it is there's a type of ligament that attaches from the clavicle to it. So also draw it on this side. Some white to it. Just to separate it a little bit more. It continues down here. Now all of this apparatus here, look what I'm going to do on this. See, it has to show you the directions of those planes, right? That's this. Let me move it over a little bit so you can see it better. And then it does this. Show you more clearly. It's front and side and side. That's what's happening here. So just very lightly I'm going to do this. This is front facing. And then this will be side facing. So when you're shading this in a drawing, you know, that part you do this and then you kind of to bring out the structure of it. But see that? You might want to put some of these lines there to know what's happening here. So from this angle, I think what time now? Okay, we got like an hour, so we can finish the neck and part of the. I don't think we'll finish everything, but we'll finish the neck and continue with some of the face. For sure, Monday we'll finish. So let me see here. I can do the go to the back view. Take a picture. we haven't done much to the back, right? So let's add some details here. See, on this drawing, I've got a little bit of the scapula here at the bottom here. And let me number these again. You know, remember this is 7. And from this angle, I want to show you here this is what I'm outlining as Scalenous. I'm just going to outline it here. The medial that goes down from all the way from 1 to 7, right? And then gets overlapped by the posterior that goes from 4th to 6th. Take a look over here. I'm gonna keep these rather simple, just widen. So this is the posterior one, goes down to the second rib. See, it's like fingers. This one, the medial attacks from 1 all the way down to 7. But we don't see beyond this here. That's the most back facing one. A little bit of yellow here. Now on on top of this one, I'm not gonna draw it on, there's another muscle that goes on top of this, but I'm not gonna draw it on top of this here. Some blue to separate them. There's this muscle here, this one picks up the scapula. This is done with gel pen over this printout. So this muscle, it goes over the scalenius, and it gives us, I'm just gonna do the outline with see, it gives us the widest part of the neck. Something like this. But I'm gonna draw it on this side. But it only attaches from to the from here from the transverse process of 1 through 4. So here 1, 2, 3, and 4. And see, I've got this portion of the scapula, right? And it does this. Its fibers overlap. So look, this, it kind of like folds on itself here. So this triangular portion that I drew overlaps these other finger-like projections here. This is in shadow here. Put some blue here. So this, I mean, these muscles are also on this side. So this would go over. I don't want to overlap it here because then it becomes very cloudy with all the pastel. So that's blue, and then to make it contrast with the more light facing plane, put some orange here. So this is levator scapulae, means it picks up the scapula. So now I'm going to do it on the side view. I'm going to take a picture of this. See, sometimes you just need black just to really. Make that stand out. To move this aside for a little bit. I'll come back to it. Okay, yeah. Before I put it on here, I don't want to forget this. I'm sure some of you have cats, right? And some of you might have seen when the cat has kittens and it moves the cats from one from one room to another, they pick up the cat from the back of the neck, from this area, and it in that back area we also have this. It's a very strong ligament. So you want to fill this in. At this point, you want to fill it in with I'm going to use this kind of mustard looking green here. And you can tap this part of your, it's right in the middle of the back of your neck. It's a very strong tendon-like ligament here. Which also becomes part of the a point where muscles can attach. Now see what I've done here. See, this is the spinous process. Right? And look on the back view. You might have noticed this on my drawings. Let me go back to this. Before I cover that up, I was getting ahead of myself. You see here, you see this, the spinous process have it's like a V, has a little opening. That's because that's where this ligament goes. And it attaches just right there up to the strongest part of it attaches there to the 7. That's why we want to keep them numbered also on this side. Let me show you this other drawing I have here. I mean, that goes all the way down between the spinous process of all the thoracic vertebrae down to the lumbar. I mean, the body is it's a fascinating subject. There's so much, once you go beyond the skin, there's so much more detail. And on, front and side and back view, I mean, you get a lot of good detail, but then also on a view like this, where it's like 3/4 front or 3/4 back view, you get a better sense of the space in there. See that? That is, where can I put it so you can see it? See, that is this portion here. And these are those transverse process that are here. So just to give you a sense of how much space they're in, and there's the erectors of the spine muscle that go from the very bottom of the spine all the way up to the neck. Just kind of fills it in. And what I'm adding here, I mean, they're more superficial. There's a lot more information that, I mean, it's not necessary, but just so you kind of know what's beyond this superficial anatomy. So there you have, I don't want to miss something out and then forget to put it in. I'll show you another. Let me do another one of those diagrams. So I think it's on this side. We're gonna do 2 muscles here on this view that fill in these spaces, right? And we're only going to see at this point the very, the very top of these muscles, because the bottom of them go to the rib cage, to the spinous process of the rib cage. But you want to keep in mind this this diagram here. So on either side of this ligament, you're gonna have this muscle. This is its basic shape. But I'm only gonna draw it on one side because it's overlapped by another muscle, and I don't want it to conflict with the way that we're looking at it. Right, so we're gonna do this one. Let me show you my example here. It's a more realistic view of it is what you see here. See where it attaches? This is the nuchal notch. This portion of the skull, you can feel it very clearly on yourself. See? So it attaches, right below that. It attaches to that ligament, and all the way down, you see, goes all the way down to the 7th thoracic vertebrae. And it attaches from those points all the way up to the first transverse process of the first thoracic vertebrae. But our drawing doesn't go all the way down to that point, so we're just going to draw, this top view. So I'm going to use some red. So this is the space that it's going to take up here. You want to leave some of this spot where you see a little bit of the transverse process of the first cervical vertebrae. And it attaches to that ligament. And then I'm just going to let it go off the page here, go off the drawing. And see the attachments down here. This is, it does go to the first and to the second. To the second. We drew those two, but it's we can't draw the other attachments because we don't have those on the drawing. And I'm just gonna shade it in with some of this red here. A little bit of white here. Some blending with my finger. little bit of a highlight here at the bottom with the attachments. So this one is the Semi-Spinalis. It makes up the back of the neck. And what is the structure? So this is to describe its topography. But then it gets overlapped by this is the Semi-Spinalis, and it gets overlapped by the Splenius Capitis. It does this kind of feel here. So just to show it is overlapping, covered with white. Now I'm gonna put it on this side. I'm gonna outline it first. But see this? It doesn't cover it up entirely, and it goes all the way here. This is the mastoid process. It uses up this space here. See, this is the fifth cervical vertebrae, so it does this here. And from this point, it attaches to the fourth, or to the ligament right at the fourth here. And then all the way down to the fourth thoracic vertebrae. So it goes off the drawing. So I'm gonna use some white here to indicate the attachments. Cover this up with red here. Some orange, so it looks a little bit brighter. Some, a little bit of white here. Give it the effect. Of the attachments. And you want to keep in mind this space here is used up by the Semi-Spinalis. And well, let me, so we can understand it better here. So you can see how I think beautiful it is. This beautiful, like basket weave of muscles. So So this is the Splenius Capitis. I'll just keep it transparent here to not lose all the other detail below it. That's what it does. Now you look at the drawing, and we still have this. We still have this outline here, right? We got this.
Sir, I have a question.
Okay.
Well, like registration for like the next classes for next semester start like tomorrow. I was wondering, are you gonna be teaching advanced drawing?
I should, yeah. I usually teach that in the spring. Yeah.
Okay, and well, just to make sure, because sometimes I don't know, usually it happens that you're gonna be teaching it here at the Edinburgh.
Yeah, it'll be in Edinburgh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm just wondering because well, to sign up for the class tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Yeah, I would very much enjoy having you sign up and also some of your other classmates. I think you guys have been doing some great work. And yeah, I'd be happy for you to join the class, your classmates as well.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering.
Now,
Sir, we could take it up to 3 times, right? For the 3-peat.
advanced drawing,
For any, well, for some of the studios, because I've already taken advanced once before, and I'm taking it this semester.
yes, I believe you can take it up to 3 times, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So this space that is left over here, this is gonna be the sternocleidomastoid that comes from the front of the neck. And then this other portion here is the trapezius. So what time? Okay, we've got time to do more. Let me see if I can finish the side view. We can finish the side view and then the sternocleidomastoid. Now from this angle, we did the Scalenous. I need more of this. So remember, this here is the scapula. And so we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. And overlapping the scalenius here is we did the levator scapulae. So look from the 4th. Take a brighter color. This violet. And then to the first transverse process. The attachments. This is the view of the levator scapulae on this, at this angle. And to show its thickness, put a white. Some black here to show the, see this overriding is on top of the scalenius. That's why I want to fill it in. And see, I'm careful not to cover. This is the 7th cervical. It really sticks out. So it's rather flat. So over this, we're gonna put the Splenius Capitis, which is this one that we did here. This one. So that one attaches to the 4th. That one was on the 4th. Look at my reference drawing here. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Sir, I have another question real quick.
Mhm.
So you're gonna take pictures of like the current, what you currently have for the skull, right? I was wondering by like, maybe when will you upload them?
I can try for later on today.
Yeah, because I need to like catch up in some parts.
Okay.
And you know, just
Okay. I will, right after class, I'll try and upload them.
yeah,
All right. Yeah.
because like I do one of the muscles, I look away, and then when I turn back to look at the screen, you're already doing like 3 more.
Oh yeah, because there's so much there's so much information. Yeah. I will definitely try and post them right after class. Now this one is gonna cover up this nice drawing that I have here, so it's no painful doing this. So look at this outline here. It's gonna get filled in. And I was using orange. Orange and red. And so this, it goes right on top of the levator scapula. We're gonna fill this in here. At this point, because there's so many colors, like everything turns brown. They end up neutralizing each other. A little bit of a highlight here. So this is the Splenius Capitis. Now, at this point, that is the ligament, right? But remember, right in that spot is the Semi-Spinalis. I had also done that one red. I'd done the one red. This one is orange. So this little space, I'm gonna just fill it in with red. Now, because of the amount of time this takes, I want to go up to 4:30, right? Because I just want to put the sternocleidomastoid here and here and on the back, and it's actually a pretty, it's pretty easy to do that muscle, and that'll end the neck portion of this drawing. I emphasize that the splenius is overlapping here. I'm gonna put this, fill this in blue here. So I pretty much grouped the medial and the posterior one together. A little bit of a highlight to separate them. Okay, what else do I need? So now, this here is it's the levator scapula. It's going to be this one here. that one. But on this view, it gives us the wider part of the neck. To show a highlight there. Make a correction on the side view here of the elevator's cut. I think I should have dropped it a little bit more. Now that I'm looking at it, see this should come down here a little bit more. The good thing with pastels, you can easily make a correction. Just put some white. Not too big of a gap there. We'll be done with the front of the neck, but I don't think we'll have time to put on the trapezius, which goes over all of these here and makes up the very last muscle of the back of the neck. So you start to see how much there's a lot more to the neck than just a cylinder. Now, see now this here. This is a portion of that sternocleidomastoid muscle. It has this portion that attaches to the top of the sternum, and then another portion that attaches to the clavicle. And there's a little bit of a gap. right here. I'm gonna fill it in with orange here. There's one portion, then there's this other portion. And I'm gonna go over with a little bit of red here. Now, at this point, the neck might look too long, but remember, we still have to do, just so you don't lose track of it here. This is the trapezius. I'm gonna do this. Just so that you don't end up with a drawing with the neck that is too long, just so you know that. We'll finish that off on Monday. Now this is the same. Now here, this purple muscle, the omohyoid, it goes, now that I'm seeing it, it should come out here. You should see it right at this portion here. I dropped it way too low. Kind of hard to put it in the right place when you don't have all these other muscles on there. But this is where it should be. See, it's not, it shouldn't be here, it should be up here. And over the weekend, I will look at these and I'll make some corrections. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to put them in the right place because it's just there's no reference. And once you fill it in, you start to see that some things are not quite looking right. And on your next, usually this, you're gonna highlight here with the levator scapulae and the scalenius, and also a little bit here with the omohyoid. But see, this guy's already, his neck is looking full, it's looking more human. Now, we've got 7 minutes, we can finish now. Let me see. Give a side view of the Sternocleidomastoid. So it goes, you've got the clavicle, it goes, from this view, this attachment is covered up by the clavicle. And so it's sternal, from the sternum to the mastoid, This is the mastoid process here. You can see from this, you know, because it has two, makes that very graceful and beautiful curve on the neck. And see, and on this part here, it is more, it's fuller here. That's what I'm trying to do is cover up all this drawing here. And it goes on top here. And also this portion. I want to bring out the scalenia with some light. So at first, this seemed very wide, but see, we filled it up. And there's other things in here, you know, but you know, we don't have time for those very deep muscles. But these are the major muscles of the neck. So that's the sternocleidomastoid. Now I'm just gonna add it to the back view. You see a little bit here. You see this very nice overlap. And on this side as well. See, now we just need the trapezius. We'll finish that on Monday. That's so that does it for today. That's a lot of muscles. We'll do the same thing we did on Tuesday. So just take a picture of what you've done and upload it. I mean, I've just been sitting here drawing, but it does kind of wears you down, you know, just the focus and like looking at all my references. So we'll do that, all right? Just take a picture, upload it to your blog, and I'll check it later. And I'll upload these pictures right now. You know, for those of you that need to look at them. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay, so you guys are dismissed, right? If you have any questions, just stay here for a little bit more, and I'll, you can ask me whatever. But you guys are you're dismissed for the week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.